Ha 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 ha. I know this mush is food. Hey guys, I am out here in the middle of nowhere, PA. We found ourselves some, well, what appears to be Pluteus cervinus, aka deer mushrooms. And aren't mushrooms quite dear? Hey, I gotta get past this poison ivy, so give me a second here.
Mr. Jeff, the mountain legend, with a story that has no end. Mushroom hunter, bear defeater, or boots that sing more miles than you.
All right, so I'm out here stuck, surrounded by poison. And that's all right. 80s band. All right, let's get this. All right, let's see how clean it is on the underside here. Tell you what, my finger's in the way. Let's get that out of the way. Let's try to get some focus here. All right, what am I looking for if I'm going to eat a wild mushroom and I know it's an edible species? There's still some other factors I want to consider, right? I mean, I'm not just going to eat any old Pluteus cervinus. As a matter of fact, I leave a lot of them because it's not considered a choice wild mushroom. That being said, I might have to eat one of these because it's been a long time. Shouldn't have left you. So I want to remind myself what they taste like. But hey, notice the marks on it. Notice where other critters have already taken to it. I can see some of the spots on it where the gills are damaged. Looks like maybe right where my pinky is pointing here. You can see how it's divoted there. I think maybe a critter like a slug or something may have come through, but not positive. Right there, we got some missing action there on the margin. And what's this thing here? Looks like there's a bug in there now. Oh well, let's grab this other one too. All right, this one, because it is more mature, may have had more time to get picked at. We're about to find out. All right, let's flip it real quick. Oops. I'm getting debris all inside those gills when I am not careful. So let's try to rip this duff off of it real quick. There we go. All right. One thing I want you to notice too, if you're looking at Pluteus IDing, which this is not necessarily a Pluteus video. This is just the mushroom I came across first. That's going to be my demonstration for the video. And look, it's already got critters throughout. But Pluteus has like this racetrack, like this circle, where the gills do not attach directly to the stem. You see what I mean? That's a key characteristic. Also, that kind of that tawny brownish, grayish color is typical with that darker center as it fades to the margin. All right, I picked these up, and the bugs, they haven't really done much to these, so I probably will have to dine on them. Cleaning them first. All right. So, have you ever wondered, immature tiny mushrooms versus full-grown mature mushrooms, nutrition facts, which one's better to eat? Do they get more nutritious as they mature and age? Obviously, we're not talking about to the point of rot. But do we want a mushroom that's full grown, or do we want to harvest it when they're small, before the caps flare out? Let's check this out on the side of the bourbon. There we go. Hey, back at the truck. And let me ask you this. With the understanding that chlorophyll is healthy, it's good for our bodies. Chlorophyll is the green found in these plant leaves, right? Chlorophyll contains magnesium, but otherwise it's very, very similar in structure to hemoglobin, right? So that being said, we know chlorophyll is good for you. Does that mean we should be able to go out and just about grab anything out here and eat it? No, just because a plant contains healthy compounds and nutrients in it doesn't mean it's not toxic in other regards. So that being said, we can apply that to our fungal friends too. Check this out. All right, so word on the street is all delicious mushrooms. Man, get off me, flies. Let's get this written up here. All delicious mushrooms are nutritious mushrooms. The very nature of being a mushroom means you incorporate some sort of beta-glucan chitin matrix to your body, to your structure, because that's what mushrooms are made out of, is chitin and like beta-glucans mixed with proteins. They call it a matrix, we'll just say, right? But you have this mixture of compounds that interlock and form the structure, and that's why some mushrooms are very dense and hardy, some even woody, right? While other mushrooms are very delicate and you can break them very easily, including such as like your inky caps. Very they dissolve from the humidity in the atmosphere, so deliquescence. Anyway, all right, can we agree though that not all mushrooms are delicious? So don't be consuming mushrooms just because Mr. Jeff said all mushrooms are nutritious. I'm talking about the ones that are actually meant for consumption. You know what I mean. You're gonna make me put edible up here, aren't you? There, okay. Put immature versus mature. I think that works, right? Immature versus mature. Okay, we'll start with carbohydrates. How's that? We're gonna look at some macronutrient contents. Carbs, immature versus mature. Which one do you think wins out? It's gonna be the immature mushroom. By dry weight, it generally is going to contain more carbohydrates. Now, mind you, the studies that have come to these conclusions, I'll put the check here for the winner, but the studies were studying common commercial mushrooms like your Agaricus bisporus, your white button mushrooms versus like portobellos and stuff, which is the same species, but they're comparing immature stage like your white button versus full grown portobellos and the like. So that this study applies to mushrooms like this I can't even say the dang word one more time. This is applying to species that have been commercially farmed and grown like our Agaricus bisporus. The one word I was trying to say was Volvariella volvaceae. That's your silky rose gills. No, I'm sorry, that's your paddy straw. And shiitake. Okay, so we're looking at some of your more common, but you see a trend here, and I feel like that trend may apply to most of our cap and stem mushrooms that we're talking about because of the way they grow. That being said, this is not science, right? So each species is going to particularly have its own, ratios of carbs, fats, and lipids and nutrition facts that'll vary immature to mature in its own species. That's different than the other species. So we're talking about some of the mainstreams here, but consider this. Immature versus mature carbs, the immature wins out. Anyway, let's go to proteins here. Which one do you think wins this one out, guys? The immature mushroom, is it going to have more protein per dry weight, or the fully mature one? Well, if you guessed mature, you are correct. Mature wins out. As a mushroom grows, it's using more protein, probably not just in the structure of it, but also in not just in the size of it, because this is not based on just because the mushroom's bigger, it's got more stuff in it. This is by dry weight. So take 1 gram of each and analyze that, and based on that, what's the percentage? The mature has more, But why that is probably due to the fact that it has developed more of its structures, the gill structure or pore structure, you know what I'm talking about, the hymenophore. All that being designed requires a lot of different proteins, and the enzymes in these mushrooms as they develop become more powerful. So there's more enzymes going on. Enzymes equals protein. So that's my guess anyway. Let's move on to lipids. Fancy word for fats, right? Or fatty acids. All right. What do you think? Any mushroom expert out there want to take a guess? Immature versus mature. Which one's going to contain a higher percentage of lipids? We see that it's split right now. Carbs with the immature, proteins with the mature. Well, we're going to break the tie here. Mature wins out on the lipid content, on the fatty acid content. And just because we use the word fats or fatty acids doesn't mean it's bad for you. As a matter of fact, you need certain fatty acids in your diet. Some of them are crucial, essential for brain health, immune health, so many different processes in our bodies. So don't shy away just because something has high protein, low carb, or high protein, low lipid content. Consider that we need all of these. They call these macronutrients. All right, continuing on. All right, next on our list, minerals. I'm talking about your elementals like calcium, phosphorus. What else am I missing in here? Let's throw in there potassium, magnesium, copper, zinc, and some of these other minerals that we understand are used in enzymatic reactions. So to me, it only makes sense, and our answer is mature. It only makes sense that the mature is going to have a more mineral content, higher mineral content, due to the fact that it's got more enzymatic actions going on due to proteins that depend on certain minerals. I'm sorry, certain enzymes that depend on certain minerals. So if we got higher protein due to enzymes, most likely we're probably going to have a higher mineral content. But that's just my speculation, guys. On to the next one. Man, why do I find it hard to write the last line? Oh, I need the truth to be said. Vitamin D, baby. How are we doing with our vitamin D in these mushrooms? Well, particularly vitamin D production with fungi, your mushrooms is going to have a lot to do with UV exposure, sunlight, right? So what do you think? Immature versus mature, whether it be a wild mushroom, shiitakes growing on a log, or Agaricus bisporus grown at a farm. What's your guess? If you guessed mature, ding, 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 you are correct. Because the mature mushrooms, go to the grocery store, look at your white button mushroom. It's white because it was not grown in sunlight or any light, or bare minimum anyway, because it wasn't getting the UV exposure. It had no reason to produce that vitamin D, baby. Mature mushrooms, go to the grocery store, look at some of those portobello caps. They're going to be darker brown because they were grown under UV, so they were producing vitamin D. So when we talk about mushrooms being high in vitamin D, we're generally talking about mushrooms that are not white, but mushrooms that were getting some sun exposure or light exposure. So if you want to increase your vitamin D, maybe it was recommended from your healthcare provider. They said, get more mushrooms in your diet because you need more vitamin D. That's good advice, but you want to find the right mushrooms. So get the mushrooms that are more mature in that case. Or here's a little fun tip. Rumor out in the woods is that you can actually take immature mushrooms that haven't had enough sun exposure, even after harvest, put them on like a baking sheet or something, lay them out in the sunlight. Of course, you ain't trying to leave them out for days, right? They're going to go bad, but give them some sun, let them get a little bit of a tan. And as they darken, that vitamin D is actually going up tremendously. So if you had to pick for nutritional sake, it only really makes sense. Let's go for the more mature mushroom. Besides, these guys got some living to do. Don't we want them to mature so they can be quite nutritious and delicious? Hey, this is Mr. Jeff. If you enjoy this stupid kind of mushroom content, hit that like button. subscribe, leave a stupid comment. I don't care. You know the process. We're trying to boost the algorithmic action here. But once again, Mr. Jeff, and until next time, actually, stay after because I stay live if you're here for the premiere. If you're not here for the premiere and you're just watching sometime in the future, well, I still appreciate you. But we're going to be jamming out after this live premiere, so I'll see you guys then if you're staying for that. Appreciate you. Peace. You haven't left yet, have you? Hey, stay tuned. I also want to show you a couple cool shots of some Pluteus that I took apart a couple days ago at another park. I got some real cool shots of a single gill. So I want you guys to see that. Stay for that. Hey, check it out. I know this mush is food. This much is food. This much is food. I know this much is food.